You recording?
Yep.
And welcome back to another episode of PT Post Mortem. I'm one of your hosts, Swaggy, Dr. Kush. This is the other host, Mr. Doctor. How we doing, Doc?
I'm doing good. I'm more alive this time than before. So, well, we'll leave it in, because fuck it, might as well. Swaggy was in reference because someone forgot to hit the record button, or someone did hit the record button, and then for some reason hit it again, so it stopped recording. So, that's
He says
why.
someone, but it wasn't me. It wasn't me, and there's two people in charge of the podcast. It's me and Doc, and it was not me.
Yep,
It was
and
not
somehow
me.
neither are fired yet. So, I suppose that's good to notice.
I'm not getting fired this week. It's not me. I got a petition going right now to fire Doc.
What,
J Dime signed it. J Dime's our first signature. The biggest hater in PT.
Well then, apart from trying to get me fired, should we have a quick rundown of what is going to be discussed today? So, firstly, you have the Fantasy League that we'll get to discussion at the first, and we'll go into PT 125. And then afterwards, we'll talk about the Xbox GP. If you've got any swag buckets, swag bars, we'll do that. And we'll see wherever the conversation takes us from. So, firstly, the announcement of the PrimeTime Fantasy League has arrived.
Yeah, it's a cool announcement. It's cool. I wasn't able to get in on this run of this first season. But that, there's a lot of teams picked, a lot of Fatinator picks, and surprisingly no Vuck picks. We don't gotta go through the teams, but
There's no
if
Vuck
you want to
pick.
like,
I've just seen a Vuck pick.
that, not a lot though, not as many as Fat. I feel.
No, there's a lot of Fad, Driz, Naznim, Bossman. Those are your main ones. It seems like I've just seen another Vuck pick.
If you just want to go through the details of the league.
Yeah, we can go through the league. Okie dokie. So, the way this will be working is you have a budget of 100k. The champion will be 50. The rank from 1 to 5 are 25k. Rank from 16 to 15 is 10k. And 16 to 25 is 5k. It should be noted that you can only choose 5 fighters of the top 25. Typically, you'll most likely see teams which have a champion, 125, two 10s, and then 1 5. Typically the way it can go, but you can go for 3 25s, which it depends how you see it, because sometimes they are like the better roster. It depends who's champion at the time. If the champion does come vacant, you can always have a fuck around with the teams, but again, you only get 1 substitution a week, so you do have to be a bit wise on that. The win values are as the following: 1 win equals 3 points, a draw is 1 point, a finish is 2. Depending on the round, it will go round 1 equals 3, round 2 is 2, and 3 is 1 point. A doctor stoppage is worth an extra half point, and the decision is worth 1 point. However, this can be added to by getting 10-8s, which are then worth another half point. Performance bonuses also give you 1 point outside of the fighter and night win, which I believe they will get half a point each.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. Sounds good. It's gonna be a fun run through. That this is the first season. And it'll be fun to, go down in the future, grab new fighters. The new people start coming in early this season. It'll be fun to watch.
Well, I'm sure there's a way we can probably get you in, and we can probably have a competition between us.
You don't want that.
What? I'll beat you in a fantasy league. I think I do want that. I think I want that.
Doc, you're never right when we challenge each other. Like, you're never right.
I think I want
that. I'm always right.
No, I think I want that. I think I want to see that. So, yeah, we'll have a couple of discussions. We'll see how that happens later on.
You're gonna be fired after I get this petition signed, anyways. So, like, it doesn't even matter.
One more reason to beat you, then.
Next week it's gonna be me and Lucky here.
Wow, am I that bad of a co-host according to you? Then?
Yeah, I already replaced you as a co-host.
Wow.
just gotta find a new matchmaker. I mean, you can stay there. You know, you've been screwing me in the matchmaking for months now. So
well, I'm sorry, you're like just at the cusp of actually being competent. Like, you're just at the cusp of actually being able to get a win.
This season, just wait. I'm gonna be a star.
Well, I mean, your star student and Rolling Thunder's retired. When's your retirement due?
My retirement's gonna come after I win a belt. I'm gonna win the PT belt this season, and then I'm gonna vacate it a champion.
Well, I mean, the best I can say is you've improved since your first debut on a live card in which you got laid on by Kai for 3 rounds straight, and I nearly fell asleep.
Yeah, now I get laid on IRL. However, moving on. 125 happened this past weekend.
It did.
And there was some bond burners on that card. Some bond burners.
Yep, there was for certain.
So, the first fight got cancelled due to internet issues. That was between Bossman and Domingo. Domingo has managed to get himself into the GP due to the amount of Xbox fuckery and the amount of pullouts, but that will be discussed later on after this event, so we'll get into that. After that, you have Not Nasty and The Pug. This was at middleweight. We were discussing it yesterday. My mind was there. Now it's gone completely blank for some reason. I'm just looking up the results. Nasty won. Again, it's that typical style that Pug has. It was a Nick Diaz just on top of head. Nasty got the uppercut KO flash KO that way. Again, I feel like Pug should have gone a grappler. He would have had a lot more success. Middleweight does have a lot of good 4-star grapplers. It struggles when that 4-star caps off because middleweight is a weird weight indeed. But for 4 stars, it's really quite solid. In terms of grapplers as well. I feel like if Pug went for that approach more against Nasty, he would have a lot more success. Nasty, as always, just being a nasty boxer and coming out as the winner there.
Yeah, Nasty's a dog. Nasty got that striking power, and Pug is a known wrestler. I don't know why he's out there striking.
Yeah, you do wonder. I mean, it's understandable game plans. You used hands to set up the grappling set up the hands, but sometimes you need to really get the grappling going first and foremost, so those hands look a lot less sketchy. That's not to say that he didn't look competitive at some points, but it was clear that that Nasty was kind of leading the fight, especially with his pressure in a lot of cases. Sometimes that's the way it goes, sometimes that happens. Following on from that, though, you had MS13 Balaka versus AK Huhu, which was a weird fight because it was John Dodson as Balaka versus Huhu playing as Marlon, but Huhu was winning the inside game.
Yes, Huhu's a dog.
Huhu is a dog, yes. That is definitely for certain. Huhu had a really good time playing that inside game. Clean, striking all round. Playing a bit on the back foot as well, and especially someone like Marlon Moraes with a chin that is as suspect as his. It was an impressive performance.
Yes.
Following from that, you had Fran versus Playboy Drew. Fran, Kevin Holland, Playboy Drew, Ian Gary. Ian Gary again. Fantastic boxing, fantastic fight styles. He really read Fran's 1-2s, to be honest. It was it was a backwards fight. Fran should have led the fight, I would argue. Playboy should have grappled. Instead, it was Fran looking kind of clueless on the fleet, not really having an answer except for the 1-2s. And the range of Ian Gary really played tricks with Fran, and he just couldn't work out how to make the adjustments to get the fight going for him. Glancing through the rest of it, Mud UFC versus Spooky. Mud came out as Conor McGregor. Spooky is Dan Ige. Swaggy's probably shaking his head in complete confusion of why this fight has happened that way, but 2 grapplers meet up. Sometimes they want to grapple.
Well, Mud and Spooky are actually on that train of killers that ran into Swaggy Dr. Kush on the unaired, and now they think they're strikers. Because I was I learned
you make shit.
I had a training session last night, and I'm no longer patched out. I think on the last episode I talked about how I'm absolutely patched out. I'm no longer patched out, but I was in my spinning elbow era.
What have you learned?
I learned that the front kick is new meta, and don't try to punch the body because you will get uppercutted into the shadow realm, and it's not worth getting nothing back. I also learned.
Okay. What are you doing?
90% of the time, you can beat a bum with an armbar.
Yes.
So I should be good to go 2-0 on the unaired with armbars and make it to one main card.
You are a bit late to this.
Well, I already knew that, but I was in my spinning elbow era.
Okay.
So I started the game and I decided I'm just gonna get a doctor stoppage. And it worked a lot. I'm also a quick fight merchant, and I started playing ranked again 2 days ago. I only have one loss, and if you follow me on TikTok, you saw that loss, and you laughed at that loss. I screamed. I shut the game off. I went in fetal position on my mats. Like,
of course you did.
Like,
of course you did.
Like, I said a sentence that I don't remember what I was trying to say, but you can't understand what I'm trying to say either, because I'm so mad that I'm just saying words. But yeah, anyway, back to the fight. Spooky and Mud, they think they're strikers now because they outstruck me because I was out there just throwing spinning elbows. Same with Ginger. Same with Ginger. Ginger's out here saying, I have more title belts than you have main card spots. Fuck you, Ginger. I'm Irish.
He's not wrong, though.
And Ginger's a bitch. And Mud won this fight?
Yes.
Yeah, neither of them are strikers. Mud is getting much better at striking.
Mm-hmm.
Spooky is not a striker. And Spooky needs to stop striking with Dan Ige.
I love Dan Ige. His hands are quick. Yeah, let's not strike with McGregor against him.
Don't do it. Yeah, Dan Ige versus Connor?
No.
Why aren't you banning Connor?
What other picks are out? Yeah, featherweight's one of those weights where you just ban Connor and you've got a really diverse set of fighters to use.
Yes, that's what I did against Spooky. I banned Connor and I picked Calvin Kattar.
It's these people who don't use bans that confuse me to lie and then complain afterwards about fighters. Like, there's a reason these bans exist.
I always use my ban.
Yeah, it's a sensible decision. Like we are aware there are fighters that are towards the higher end, especially
for some reason. I only ever get bantamweight, featherweight, or lightweight fights, so I'm always banning the same fighter.
Well, that's
I got bantamweight long time.
Well, it's again.
No, I got flyweight one
allocated.
time. I got flyweight one time.
Yeah,
it was surprisingly my best. It was surprisingly my best performance ever.
Who's
Brandon Moreno.
Brandon Moreno, fair enough.
I love that motherfucker. That weird little bastard. I love him.
Pantoja's like he's a midget, but apparently long with his Celtic cross. I don't quite understand him.
Nah, you just tell Brandon Moreno that after the fight we're going to the Lego store and he's gonna beat the dog shit out of whoever's in front of him.
I'm not gonna ask. Okay. Well, moving on from that weird debacle, you had Ginger versus EK issues. Ginger started with
and Ginger won. I just want to point that out.
What?
He won a fight. He won a fight. You. Doc. What was Ginger's record on Xbox before getting the fight against me on unaired?
4-4.
Horrible. I am an unaired gatekeeper.
Yeah, on PS.
Now he's winning fights.
Yeah, I mean, can we also say it was short notice, in fairness to Ginge? Ginge is notoriously good at short notice fights.
See, I'll argue that.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure he was a last minute or fairly last minute.
Doesn't he always do really good in the Grand Prix too?
Yeah, he does. Although he's out of this week's, but we'll get to that in a bit. Yeah. Ginger, for some reason, is really well in GPs and really well at last minute replacements. It's a weird one.
Yeah, he sucks if he's got to think about it for a week.
Yeah. Just the nerves that kill him. So, moving on from that fight, we enter into our main card. First and foremost is AK Tiny Z. This fight was interesting because it was Izzy Adesanya versus Strickland. Mike tried to walk forward. He tried to walk him down. He had about as much success as... No, he didn't. He had no success. I don't know.
It didn't work for him.
Yeah, it didn't work for him. I don't know where I was going with that sentiment. I was going to say as much success as Sean Strickland IRL, but Sean Strickland actually won the fight. So yeah. No, Tiny Z, also known now as AKA Gangster. I'm not quite sure what's up with those naming conventions. Like apparently that is his old name, but it's the name he wants to go by. I don't quite understand it, but who am I to question it?
Yeah, Gangster's a gangster.
Mm-hmm. We can go with that. From that fight, you had Tyr versus Mazzy. This fight was weird. Mazzy...
Yeah, most Mazzy fights are weird.
Yeah, well, Mazzy was winning the striking. Mazzy dominated the striking against Tyr.
Oh, yeah.
Who's a striker.
Oh, yeah. And then Tyr took him down, got him out,
And then
landed
got
a couple
the KO.
strikes.
Yeah. It's like, okay, cool. That is back to front and round the wrong way.
That's why I respect Tyr, because Tyr will get down and dirty with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tyr has fought some of the best competitors this season, and he's proven why he's up there with them.
He appeared.
He wasn't about to lose. He was not about to lose to Mazzy. He was probably getting outstruck that first round, and he was like, "Oh hell no." Yeah, that's exactly why he was probably like, "Oh hell no." He was like, I'm not going back to the camp Discord with this loss. Like, I might have to leave NBK if I take this loss. I might have to leave NBK if I take this loss.
No, Tyr's been a good competitor. I think he appeared...
Yeah, he's the dog.
He appeared a bit over the course of UFC 4. I think it was definitely the last season where he appeared. And since then, he's been consistently active within the top 15. It's nice to see these people about, especially since... doesn't talk a lot. He shows up, he fights, and that's it. And I've got to admit, those types of people are a joy to book a match, mate, because they will just happily take any fight, any notice.
Yeah, I'm used to like the people that like will DM me shit talk like before and after the fights, and I'm only a media analyst, so they're DMing me that because they know I'm going to speak about them on the podcast. Like Fad still does, and Smudger did for a bit. But you know, these new fighters coming up, they don't talk, and they don't talk shit, and y'all got to talk more shit. Like
they don't do it very well.
Tyr, you gotta call all your opponents some bitches. Like I know Mazzy on your team, and that should inspire you more to be like, yo, Mazzy, you baby bag bitch. How's it feel that I sat in your mount and fucking busted on your chin? Like, how's that feel? How's that feel? It don't feel good. It don't feel good. And that right there will bring the dog. You'll be a star. You'll be a star.
Oh my God.
Don't do that and get laid on, though. That's what I did at PT 100, and I got laid on. And I'm the opposite of I get roasted now. It's like I'm never coming back from any of my fights.
Oh Jesus, what?
But Tyr, you still got it. What's next?
Mix-ups versus Caliber. Anthony Pettis' mix-ups. Jalen Turner's Caliber.
Mix-ups finally got a good record, baby. Let's go.
You act
hitting
like
double digits.
11-6 is a good record to end.
That's not bad.
You were just talking about him being 10-5 or something.
9-6, like 9-5 or 9-6. That was an ugly record.
What was
11-6 is nice.
He was 10-5 last week.
I don't think I was mad at his record last week.
Yes, you were. You all.
I like it now.
Okay. Fine. You bipolar weirdo.
Mix-ups is a good fighter now.
Swaggy mixing up with the records, apparently. Yeah, no, but again, mix-ups, really good job, especially fighting someone as long as Jalen Turner with Cam Caliber. Like,
Pause.
It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm.
Pause.
Okay.
You said as long as Jalen Turner, so I said pause. We gotta start throwing pauses out on the podcast.
Why?
So you know what you did, Doc. So
I don't.
So the fight went opposite than what you would expect with the picks, is what Doc's trying to say here.
Apparently. Okay, that's gone completely over my head, but apparently not, but straight into Swaggy's head so much that he's just crying, laughing now at this point. While Swaggy recovers, we'll move on. MG versus Samurai Robin. It was a bantamweight. Robin managed to succeed to win. Evidently, the 1-2s of MG being no match for the significant striking of Robin. Has Swaggy recovered yet? No, he's still going.
No. I'm laughing about the MG remark you just made. The 1-2s of MG. You know, those deadly 1-2s that sometimes he throws things behind them, sometimes. And then other days it's just a fucking 1-2 out there. Yeah, it's like he forgot that there's another part.
No, I would really like to see a continuation of it. He won the belt. He beat Smudger. That's fair enough. That's a good job. But bantamweight all weights. Yes. Not bantamweight, flyweight, sorry, with Pantoja and his Celtic Cross. Even more so, it means that ducking that straight is a nightmare with the strike tracking on this game. But alas, but yeah, it's one of those things. He just needs to develop it a bit more, as you said. He needs to fire something out other than it's a jab rear hook, jab straight lead uppercut. Just variations on that game can help matters a lot, even just with a simple rear hook a lot of the time, or a head kick 100%. If you so feel like it.
Yes, he should throw something behind it, is all I'm saying.
Indeed. Moving on from that fight, we would have had Trixie versus Fad. Fad wasn't around, so instead we had Trixie versus Warrior, and I don't know what happened. I do not know what happened that day. I don't know. It was Prime Lawler as Trixie and Shavkat as Warrior, and it just didn't go in Trixie's favour. Warrior did a fantastic job at keeping that distance with the jab straights, and Trixie really just struggled to get any damage off. Each trade just wasn't working.
Well, see, here's a couple takeaways from this. My first takeaway from this is, was Fadinator running? And I think I said this last week that it sounds like Fadinator's running. And I don't want to say Fadinator's running, but Fadinator will be in the GP. There's no running in the GP. However, going to my next point, this is the second time that Trixie has lost to somebody he shouldn't have in the last 3 weeks, which is starting to bring up a select word that I'm not going to say this week. I will say it next week, depending on how he does in the GP, and I might even wait till after that.
Yeah, you might.
However, Trixie gets a reset. Trixie gets a reset in the GP, so that this loss don't matter. It just affects his seeding. And
he's record 7-2 at the end of the season.
So he's still ranked high. He's still seeded very well, and he's still going to get a good matchup in the GP, and we'll talk about that later on. But Warrior is a dog. He's a Warrior, and he got it done. Well-deserved win from Warrior.
Indeed. As you said, as you were trying to allude to, though, with Trixie's losses, his only other loss was to Mix-Ups, and Mix-Up has challenged with the belt 3 times this season. Last season, this season, depends on what you review it.
He shouldn't have lost the Mix-Ups.
Mix-Ups is a tricky fighter.
He shouldn't have lost the Mix-Ups.
However, that does not mean that because Trixie has lost to people like Warrior and like Mix-Ups, that the matchup between Fad and Trixie wouldn't go differently. Styles make fights, and it's very possible that the style that Warrior and people like Mix-Ups bring are significantly different to that of the style that someone like Fad would bring, and what adjustments Trixie would or could make during those fights. That's another thing. There's people within this top 10 are all easily able to fight for the title. They just need to give us enough of a reason. A lot of the time, that's with winning streaks
Doc.
and beating guys higher than them, and that's a lot of time down to Styles. Yes.
Doc, you're coping right now. I understand. I'm a longtime Tony Ferguson fan. I did this. I made excuses when he lost his first two. I made some excuses,
Trixie has not lost. I don't know how many times Tony Ferguson's lost at this point. I've lost count. He's been subbed by some Bobby fucking Green.
I believe we're down the road of 7 now. Seven in a row.
Oliveira, Dariush.
Justin Gaethje.
Was it Gaethje number 1? It was Gaethje, Oliveira, Dariush. I'm going to have to look this up, aren't I?
I don't want to talk about it. Let's main event. And no!
Well,
we had
by
Vanio
using
versus
Prime Tony Ferguson, in fact, as well.
We had Vanio versus Vuck. And the first round was weird. The second round was weird. And the third round, Vuck got it done.
When
Vuck
did
just
Tony lose to
clocked.
Nate Diaz?
Yes. It's another one.
Chandler, Diaz, Green, Paddy. What a shock. Yeah, but where were we? Vuck.
I'm talking about Vanio and Vuck.
Yeah. Vuck won with Tony Ferguson.
Yes, sir.
He destroyed the block of Vanio. Vanio tried his damnedest to get the cardio going into his favour, given the most recent patch that happened up to that point was stamina and did do quite a lot. But Tony's 100 cardio with high recovery just fucked him. It was really good picks by Vuck there to basically to have control of the fight.
Yeah, bro, Vuck is on fucking fire right now. He's going off. He beat Smudger, and then he just beat Vanio going into the PS Grand Prix on fire.
Indeed.
So now, drum rolls, please. Should we now talk about the Xbox Grand Prix?
Well, we have we got a Scumbucket and Swaggy for PT125?
I actually skipped it for this week because it's the last pod of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I decided I was gonna skip it and do a special one for the GPs.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do special picks for the GPs.
So
those will be next week, though, of course.
Okie dokie. So the GP first fight on listed is Fadinator versus Bossman.
Yep. Easy win for Fadinator.
Okay.
Round 2.
Round 2. Alright. That's a 5-round fight. All champion fights will be 5 rounds. They will also count as title defenses since Fad is going into the GP as champion. That should be noted. After that fight, second fight of the night will be Playboy Drew versus BFAP Kante.
That's a good fight. Low key. I got Conti, though, because Conti's been on fire.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Just the way you pronounce it is utterly mental.
That's my dog. Conti's my dog.
Kante.
Yeah, Conti. That's what I'm saying.
Such a tosser. Such a goddamn tosser. Okay. Yeah, no, that fight's going to be back and forth. Kante probably has the betting favourite there, but Playboy Drew, if he comes out like he did with what's his name, like against Fran last week, then it'll definitely be a close fight. From that fight, you then have Driz versus Zesty Stomps.
Yeah, Driz.
This is Stomp's live debut
in the Grand Prix.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, if you want to know, the Grand Prix is meant to be from 1 to 15. However, sometimes we end up with products. So, what you do is you then go down the list. So, K got Bills is suspended, so he's out. Nazanim declined, so just call me Swag. Theo declined and Frosty declined. Those are all within the top 15. So,
no, Frosty declined?
Yes, Frosty's declined, sadly.
No.
Although, as far as I'm aware, he is planning to compete, so expect to see him in within the near future, possibly in the title picture, I think, is Frosty's aim.
So we got a bunch of bums in this Grand Prix, is what you're saying.
Well, no. Because we do
Who's this squirts guy? Squirts versus Drizz.
Stomps.
Stomps, Squirt, stomps. Yeah. Drizz is gonna stomp Squirts.
We do
That's
also
what's
have
gonna happen.
Mazzy, Caliber.
That's Mozzie versus Caliber.
No, but I know both of them are in it. We'll just continue going, and I'll make notes.
Yeah, just tell me the fights.
So
Come on,
after that, after the Drizz fight, we have EK Warrior versus Caliber.
No, that's a good fight. That's a tough one to pick. I don't know on that one. It could be anybody's fight. That's gonna be a good
After that, we have Mix-Ups versus Hayetsran.
Yeah, easy win for Mix-Ups. 1-0, 1-0, starting that record off pretty.
Then you have Fonty versus MBK Maximus. It was originally
Fonty.
Abdul, but Abdul pulled out.
Fonty, I'm excited to see Fonty compete again on a live card, because the last time I saw Fonty compete on a live card, he lost, and this is the last time I saw it, and he lost, and I talked about it, and he hated me ever since. So I really hope he impresses me so he can like me.
Jesus. After that, we have NBK Tier versus the man who went 0-5 on Unaired and then +5 Iron Domingo.
I feel like he can't lose, right? Like, I feel like he's so unstoppable.
After all the shit he's been through, I bloody hope he doesn't.
Like I see, like, he's got a tough challenge in front of him in Tier. Tier is a dog.
Indeed.
But Domingo has been through the ringer. The ringer.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I had it bad and unaired. This motherfucker was 0-5 and climbed out.
Yeah, no, you do absolutely wonder how that fight's going to go. Honestly, I say Domingo only because I hope so, but Tier's gonna... That's probably going to be fight of the night. Not going to be a lie. And after that, you have Trixie versus Mazzy.
If by the grace of God, Mazzy wins this fight, I'm saying it. Like if Mazzy wins this fight, I'm saying it. I'm saying it. It's coming out. I'm saying you're the one with a petition out there. You're the one. Hit me up if you want to sign. By the way, and no, I'm saying it.
Sign my own petition to get me fired.
Like Trixie better win this fight. I don't care if he loses right after this. He better not lose to Mazzy.
Well, I mean, so Trixie will be fighting the winner of Tier versus Iron Domingo. If he wins.
It better not lose to either of them.
Well, he's beaten Tier, and unless Iron Domingo pulls out something completely shocking and then comes out to then murder Trixie.
No, because Domingo's scary. So, like, if Domingo makes it past
only
Tier,
in the way that God seems to want him to actually get a win.
Yeah, Domingo might actually win this whole GP.
You never know. You never know. So outside of Fad, who we have given a pound-for-pound roll last night to Trixie, we haven't mentioned it actually. We have announced roles for both Fad and Trixie. Fad later getting the pound-for-pound GOAT roll, and Trixie getting the UFC 4 GOAT roll.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that. On the side of UFC 4, Trixie's the GOAT, but right now Fad is, and Trixie can't even make it to Fad, so...
Not just yet, but I mean, you may see it.
I'm thinking outside of Fadinator though. Drizz has a legit shot of winning this thing.
Drizz runs into
Domingo has a legit shot of winning this thing. Trixie has a legit shot of winning this thing.
Mix-ups.
Nah, let's not go too far, Doc. Let's not go too far. Mixie, man, Mixie might win 1-2 fights, might make it to the third round, but Listen, you know what happens when Mix-Ups fights Fatinator and he's on his side of the bracket.
We'll find out.
No, don't. No. How many times did they fight this season? 3 or 4?
3. Mix-Ups is on the opposite side of the bracket, though.
Oh, is he on the opposite?
Yeah.
I thought they were on the same side.
No, they're on the
opposite.
They'll meet up in the finals. The weight classes, we should say,
No,
actually. Round 1 is lightweight. So we'll be having 8 fights at lightweight. We'll be having 4 fights at bantamweight, 2 fights at middleweight, and the championship final will be at welterweight.
Oh, I'm surprised there's no heavyweight.
Yeah, well, we do normally go with heavyweight in about the 3rd round, but we decided to be nice and give people middleweight this year.
That's not bad.
Season. Yeah. It's
only 4 fights.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 fights.
Exactly. So, anything else we need to bring up? I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. We are reaching the 35-minute mark, so we're not doing too bad for time overall. Gone through stuff quite quickly today.
I think we hit everything on the dome.
I don't think we hit everything. Well, I suppose we'll just have a bit of a short episode down from... We've gone for an hour, 40 minutes. I think this will probably be our shortest episode. But, again, there'll be a lot to discuss next week with the Xbox GP and the results of that. Some utter fuckery could definitely happen. I could fully see it. Iron Domingo wins the belt. That would be a wild showcase.
Insanity.
It would be insanity. It would definitely 110% be insanity.
Yeah, nah. Next week will definitely be a lot more to talk about because the Grand Prix are always insanity.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, it's the PrimeTime guarantee as coined by one of our main commentators of Bane. In the past, it was always be the case. PrimeTime guarantee is here to stay, and it causes some utter chaos when it comes to the Saturday cards. You think
I'd beat him in a grappling match?
Oh, Bane.
Yeah, Ben Davis.
I think you would injure yourself by mistake.
Well, see, he's 0-1 in grappling, 0-1 in some weird circus fight thing, and 0-1 in boxing, and I'm 0-1 in grappling. So somebody's O's gotta go, and I feel like I tap him out. I feel like I get him in a mean Kimura or something.
I feel like you knock yourself out.
In a grappling match against Bane Davis.
I feel like
I didn't even knock myself out against Romero, and I was literally getting thrown. And I know how to prevent that now. If I wrestled Romero again tomorrow, I promise you, if I get slammed, it's only one time. Cause I learned something valuable, Doc. You
don't get back up.
I learned about God. I learned how to sit in my God. You don't even have to stand. Like, I didn't even, like, my initial stance, I didn't even have to do that. I can just sit on a leg. It's jiu-jitsu. I just sit on a leg. Fuck am I standing for? But yeah, I think I beat Bane if a grappling match were to.
I'd love to see it.
See, people want it.
Go get it set up so I can laugh at you. Well,
tell him I'm coming.
You want to do it? Go sort it out like you did with Romero, you crazy fucker. Well then, I guess, with your weird ideas of wanting to do a grappling match or whatnot. So, this has been PT Post Mortem, our breakdown of both PT 125 and the Xbox GP. I've been your host, Dr. Swaggy. Kush has joined me in the booth. If you like what you see from him, if you like the insanity that he seems to bring to everything that he does, he runs his own podcast on his YouTube under the same name, and well as streams on Twitch basically daily, it seems like.
Yeah, I'm out here.
Yeah, exactly. He's chilling, he's being weird, he's being wacky, he's being wild. Go check him out. Links will be in the description. But aside from that, we are live this Saturday, 4:30 Eastern, 8:30 GMT. Time zones have gone back. That's why it's a slight change. Apart from that, then, have a good night and adios.